Hilton Garden Inn in Winchester. Of course, it's Wednesday. It's the Valley Business Today. Chance to talk about business and industry in the Northern Shenandoah Valley. Here to help us do that today, he's Andy Waldo of Team Waldo Realty.
Hey,
Andy, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good. Thank you very much for coming in at the last minute. Team Waldo Realty, how long have you been around?
About 10 years.
All right. How'd you come up with the name Team Waldo?
My dad was a real estate agent years ago in Seattle.
Followed in the family business?
Yep. And my mom, when I was in the Army, my mom kept sending over the worst Waldo books, and it just kind of naturally fit when we were putting together our own business.
So you've been in real estate now for 10 years, I guess, in the Northern Shenandoah Valley.
Yes.
You've seen them, I don't want to say peaks and valleys. I will say I think it's easily, we went through a stretch where it was a seller's market. I believe now it is a buyer's market. You've kind of seen it all in your 10 years.
Yeah, it's been interesting. When I first got into the industry in 2001, the internet wasn't much around, and prices were very similar to what they are today.
Really?
And then they increased exponentially all the way up to 2005. As everybody well knows, into that huge seller's market. And now we've dipped back into a buyer's market with the economy. It's a great time to buy a house, actually. There's some incredible deals out there with foreclosures and short sales and different things that are around.
All right. Of course, if it is a great time to buy, does that mean it's not a good time to sell?
Well, it depends if you used your house as an ATM or not. A lot of people did buy in 2003, 4, and 5 when the market was really picking up. And even 06 was a time when people were buying. It was fairly high. But now, if you did buy in those time frames, it's going to be tough if you didn't put a lot of money down. But if you have a lot of equity in your home and you've owned your home a long time and you're looking to either upgrade or downgrade depending on your family situation, it's an excellent time to go ahead and sell and buy another home.
All right. So it's been a buyer's market. It's in a seller's market. I'll just ask you personally, which do you prefer? Do you prefer, from a Team Waldo standpoint, it be a buyer's market or a seller's market?
Well, it depends on what type of business you've got going. 2008 was tough. There were almost no buyers and there were almost no sellers, and everything was very stagnant. But I personally enjoy the listing side of it. But on our team, we have buyer's agents and we have seller's agents, and they specialize, and they're all very, very good. And I think knowledge of what you're getting into and what type of market it is so important because it's changed so much in just the last 5 years.
What's the strengths and weaknesses between a buyer, or I should say just the differences? You mentioned we have buyer's agents, we have seller's agents. What is the difference between the two? I mean, besides the obvious.
It's part of the idea that we take a listing. We were trying to sell a house. You have to market it. You have to really push it. You have to get it on the internet. You got to put flyers out. We put trifolds, and we do anything we can to sell the property. But then you generate buyer leads. But then you get into the awkward position of representing two parties in one contract.
Is that a conflict of interest?
Legally, in the state of Virginia, no. It's called dual agency. In my office, we do not practice it because I don't think you can do what you are supposed to do as an agent, what you're trained to do, and what you're very good at, which is negotiation, information, and making sure that we're protecting our client. And it's hard to do that when you're representing two separate parties.
Because what may be, you might give the seller the best deal, then by contrast, you're not giving the buyer its best deal if you're negotiating both sides.
Yeah, and we have what we call a fiduciary responsibility where we represent them and we cannot share any personal information. And if we represent the buyer and the seller, we obviously know personal information on loan, reason, what they're willing to pay for something, what they're willing to come down on. And when you know that, now all you are is a facilitator. In my opinion, that's not representing a client.
All right, when you started the realty business 10 years ago, how many did you have in the office?
Well, I actually started with another company.
Okay.
And there were about 15 agents in that company, and then we started another company, and we got up to 87 agents.
Wow.
And we were rocking it out. And then I sold my interest in that company in 2005, a very good time to sell a real estate company. And we started Team Waldo Realty, and we're a small shop with 9 agents, and we do a lot of work with Fannie Mae for foreclosures, Capital One, some other banks. And we also have a lot of buyers and a buyer specialist group that handles all the leads from it to make sure that we're selling our listings.
All right. Is 9, 10 employees good enough? Is there room for expansion? Do you plan to expand down the road?
Well, my goal with my team is to make sure that everybody's making really good money and is really happy with their job and at the same time, we are highly educated and we're doing the best job we can. Is there expansion? In my mind, yeah, I can always expand if the business is there. But you have to be careful with the market the way it is and to make sure that you're fully educated on all the changes that have happened so that you're representing your client correctly. But do we go to 20? I don't know if we'll ever have that market, but I think big.
How far, I guess, of a radius do you cover?
We cover about 9 counties in both Virginia and West Virginia. All of our agents are licensed in both states. And so we do quite a bit of traveling.
All right. You mentioned you want the listings. It's a buyer's market. Tips for those, we'll start with those looking for a home. What is it? What are some just basic tips for those that want to buy?
Searching on the internet is where everybody generally starts. They say about 88% of the people start there first. And so obviously you want to be using the right websites for that. Realtor.com is an excellent for general information, but they're not always up to date all the time. You can go to individual realtor websites. A lot of those are hooked into Homes Database, which is actually the MLS that we use. So there's a lot of excellent websites out there that you can go to start your research. But you really need to hire, when you hire a realtor, if that's the way you go, you need to hire somebody who's knowledgeable and understands the difference between short sale, foreclosure, regular sale, and what are the pitfalls and what are the time frames and what are the positives and negatives. Because you look at the lending also. Lending is so tight now. Who's got the best products? Who's got the best follow-up? Getting a phone call back sometimes is just a happy moment. So, I mean, really, you need to be highly educated, and you need to get educated by the people that you hire.
But by the same token, okay, tips for buyers. Oh, no, we just did buyers. Sellers, excuse me.
Tips for sellers. You got to find out what is it going to cost you. What's your payoff? What are the charges? You know, every time you invite somebody into your home to do a listing, in my opinion, you need to find out what's my bottom line at realistic sales prices. That way you've got the information on moving forward with what can I do and what can I not do. A lot of people are in trouble and upside down in what they owe and what to the bank and what the house can actually sell for. And that puts you into short sale, making the payment, or we hate to say it, possible foreclosure. And you need to find somebody who understands short sale and foreclosure and your risks and your liabilities and your tax implications and all the crazy stuff that comes up with that.
You hear that nowadays, the short sale. For those that may not be familiar or don't know about that, what's the Cliff Notes version of a short sale?
Short sale is when you sell your property for less money than you owe, and a third party, which is the bank who actually owns the note on the property and holds the property as equity for that loan, agrees to take, say, $50,000 less. But then you have different, they'll give you an agreement saying that they are willing to forgive that, but then they'll give you a 1099 tax form that you have to file with your taxes saying that that $50,000 was a profit to you and you have to pay taxes on it unless you qualify for the Tax Act of 2007, which gives you amnesty. Now, we have an excellent attorney that we work with. If you have one, I would recommend talking to one. Doing a short sale will save your credit, and you can actually go back and buy a house sometimes 18 to 24 months after the short sale. Foreclosure, it could be significantly longer, and it doesn't look nearly as good. And you still, in foreclosure, have possible liability of the bank coming back to you for the loss. So there's a lot of differences, and I highly recommend a good real estate attorney to go over everybody's individual situation.
Andy Waldo with Team Waldo Realty here. We're broadcasting live today from the Hilton Garden Inn in Winchester. As far as the market goes, we'll talk a little bit. Look in your crystal ball in the future. You've been in this area 10 years. What do you foresee for the future?
My crystal ball broke about 5 years ago. It is an awesome market to buy in.
Especially this particular area.
This particular area. We kind of have a bubble being near the D.C. market and the government and all the different things that come with that. And so we have a lot of investors who are buying properties. We have a lot of people who are first-time home buyers are out there quite a bit because they can afford so much. You've got FHA, rural housing, USDA. You've got some excellent loan programs out there that give you either 3.5% down to nothing down if you qualify. And the big thing is getting people qualified and going out and finding a house that actually will be in good enough shape to pass these loan programs. Of course, the conventional programs, 20% down, are still out there for the people who have saved up enough and want to have a really good rate. But the interest rates have stayed significantly low, and we really have an exciting market out here.
All right, I guess anytime anybody wants to explore, of course, there's always the power of the internet. It's right there at your fingertips.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's hard not to plug my own website. If you go to andywaldo.com, you can search our actual MLS right there where it says search the MLS. You just click on there, and then you're off and running. But really the big thing, the seller side's really the most concerning side of it, is the education. If you can do short sale, it takes more work, but you might not be in such a liable position when you get out of it, and then you can get back, build your credit back up, and you can literally walk into another home. And we've had people doing that right now who did short sale almost 2-3 years ago when the market did change back then. So that's my biggest concern, is the sellers.
That's a quick fix, so to speak, if you're in a little bit of trouble, right?
I don't know if you call it a quick fix. It is an option that is out there, that is legal, and that you can really get yourself out of a lot of trouble.
Is it now, can you get, again, too much of a good thing? I mean, it was a few years ago that a lot of folks wanted to go bankrupt, to escape from their, debts and escape from their financial obligations, or just declare bankrupt. Now the government's made it tough for those that declare bankruptcy. Now, is this something, perhaps, maybe if too many people do that they may make changes for that?
Well, of course, you never know if the government's going to extend something, but the Tax Act, from what I've been taught, is the Tax Act of 2007 gives these people amnesty if they do a short sale on that 1099. I would much rather go that route than not have amnesty, and the next thing you know, you're getting a 1099 and the government's upset with you. I do not want the government upset at me. But when it comes to planning, family planning, and what is the best, really, in my opinion, you need to go talk to an attorney about that and get some real good, solid advice, and your CPA, so that you know what your liabilities are. We have some excellent ones that we work with. People have their own. That is the safest bet. Real estate's really my main expertise.
Anything else you want to add that we haven't covered?
I just want to reiterate, there are some awesome deals out there. It's an awesome market if you're buying, and you should really go out and find and work with really intelligent, really educated people who understand what they're talking about, because otherwise you could really get yourself into losing a house because you didn't do the right thing, or getting into a contract that lasted 9 months. Short sales can last quite some time, and if you're not educated on that, it can be very frustrating. Andy
Waldo with Team Waldo Realty, thank you very much for being on the program. Good meeting you.
Thanks, Mario.
When we come back, we'll have more on the Valley Today, live from the Hilton Garden Inn, right after this.
Randolph-Macon Academy congratulates the 73 graduates of the class of 2011. These amazing young people earned 280 college acceptances to colleges such as the U.S. Air Force Academy, Berkeley, Penn State, and UVA, and earned over $5.1 million in college scholarships. RMA is a college prep co-educational boarding and day school for students grades 6 through 12, with extended hours available for commuters. To find out more, call 636-5200 or visit rma.edu.
Come on out June 22nd through July 3rd to see Shenandoah Summer Music Theater's rendition of Kander and Ebb's Curtains. From the creators of Cabaret in Chicago comes this charming Broadway musical Whodunit. Watch as a Boston homicide detective investigates the murder of the leading lady of Robin Hood on its opening night. Can he save the show, solve the case, and find love all before the show reopens? Order tickets today at 540-665-4569 or visit ShenandoahSummerMusicTheater.com.
Hidden Springs Senior Living believes in country living with a beautiful mountain view and keeping seniors active in mind, body, and spirit. Situated atop family farmland and owned and operated by a husband and wife team, Hidden Springs offers something different in assisted living. Think of Hidden Springs as a gift that keeps giving. Your loved one receives secure, vital care, the comfort of personal furnishings, and an exceptional quality of life. For information, visit Hidden Springs on the web at hiddenspringseniorliving.com or call 636-2008.
Hidden Springs Senior Living provides security, tasty, nutritious meals, and attentive and personalized care. With Lifeline pendants calling directly to nursing staff and staff that truly becomes family, Hidden Springs Senior Living is better than being home alone. Come meet the family at Hidden Springs, less than 10 minutes south of Front Royal in Limetown. Visit Hidden Springs Senior Living on the web at hiddenspringseniorliving.com, or for more information, call 636-2008. Hidden Springs Senior Living, the gift that keeps giving.